morning, Unity Community, and happy Mother's Day. My name is Deb Philby, and I am the Communications and Volunteer Coordinator here at UCOP. And joining me today on the platform is Patrick Andrus, and also... Oh, I guess I need a microphone. Are we good, or shall I start over?
Start over.
Start over, okay. Take two. Good morning, everybody. This is Deb Philby. I'm the Communications and Volunteer Coordinator here at Unity Church of Overland Park. Happy Mother's Day and welcome. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. If you are joining us on Facebook or on YouTube, thank you so much for being here. And for our staff that are joining us this morning, we have Fred Albers, and we also have Terry Sturgeon as our interpreter. We have lots of volunteers behind the scenes helping us today. We have Joan Priola over on slides, and we have Mike Hobson on StreamYard. We also have Charlie Carter joining us as well. Jim Crabtree is videotaping this, and Tiffany Crabtree. We also, as you know, we are in phase 2 as we prepare for our in-person services. And so we also have our prayer chaplains with us today, and our greeters and ushers, and Luann Bruce is also back on our sign-in table. So thank you all for being here. We appreciate you. All right, let's see. We have Cyndi Swall here today.
Yes, we do.
And her topic is doing extraordinary things, doing ordinary things. When did I take 3? Doing ordinary things with extraordinary love. Save the drama for the llamas.
Llamas.
Llamas! Save the drama for the llamas.
Deb, her title is Save the Drama for Your Mama.
Oh, was that a typo in the order of service? Dang, whoops. I can't wear my llama mask anymore?
Let's take the llama mask off.
Okay.
It looks really nice, though.
Thank you. All right. Oh, I can breathe and not fog up my glasses anymore. That's great. All right. So, in Unity, we honor and affirm people of all color, creed, ability, sexual orientation, and gender expression. We preach, teach, and believe in our wholeness as a beloved child of God, and we value that gift of diversity in the world. We come together each week to remember and remind ourselves who and whose we are. We light the Christ candle that symbolizes the Christ light always present and brightly shining in each of us. So as we behold the light that we are, let us affirm one of Unity's foundational statements of truth together. There is only one presence and one power in the universe and in my life, God, the source of all good.
And now let us repeat our vision together, a world powerfully transformed through the growing movement of shared spiritual awakening. And our affirmation for our future space, we are grateful for our new spiritual home that empowers us to fulfill our mission. And now let's join Fred with Faith, Father of My Faith, written by our very own Fred Albers.
All right, y'all are going to join in with me as we sing Father of My Faith, Mother of My Love. So it works for today. Happy Mother's Day, by the way. Father of my faith, Mother of my love, let me find your spirit here in all I'm dreaming of. You will be my compass, you will be my guide. I find you here within me, with you I coincide. Father of my faith, Mother of my love, let me find your spirit here need you here within me. With you I coincide. Yeah.
Thank you, Fred. Nice job. Well, I'm blessed this morning with being the daily word reader. So today's daily word is motherly love. I give thanks for motherly love. God's love expressing through my mother gave me life. God's love, wisdom, and strength guided her and all those who have nurtured me as I grow. My words of praise and gratitude let me show my mother how much I appreciate her. When I wish to demonstrate my appreciation for my mother's example, I share the nurturing, motherly love of God in my words and actions with all people. Remembering the times when my mother or another compassionate person listened patiently and shared encouraging words, I seek to be a caring, supportive presence. Recalling my mother's joy each time I learn something new, I share my skills and knowledge willingly when someone seeks my help. In gratitude, I share the gift of nurturing love. As a mother comforts her child, so will I comfort you. Isaiah 66:13.
We're in a time of prayer. As we take a moment, you may close your eyes and just allow yourself to move within. Take a deep breath, realizing that this breath connects us to Spirit. And as we direct our attention to our hearts, we see a light there beaming brightly. And we recognize that this light is a beacon. It's a lighthouse guiding others to where they may connect with Spirit. And as we connect with Spirit, we realize that our perspective changes. And as our perspective changes, we realize that sometimes things may not have been as we imagined them to be. This change in perspective creates a change in perception. And a change in perception is a miracle. And this miracle of changing our perceptions allows healing to occur. And as we connect with Spirit and this shift in perspective and perception, we affirm that no one is against us. Nothing is against us. That Spirit expresses through us and everyone else as love, and that anything that is not love is not of Spirit. And we pray this in the name of the Spirit. Amen. And now, as we bless our gifts of time, talent, and treasure, we affirm divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And I am joy-filled and grateful. And now let's welcome back Fred. Things We've Handed Down, written by Mark Cohn.
Don't know much about you. Don't know who you are. We've been doing fine without you, but we could only go so far. Don't know why you chose us. Were you watching from above? Is there someone there that knows us? Said we'd give you all our love. Will you laugh just like your mother? Will you sigh like your old man? Will some things skip a generation, like I've heard they often can? Are you a poet or a dancer, a devil or a clown, or a strange new combination of the things we've handed down? I wonder who you look like. Will your hair fall down and curl? Will you be a mama's boy or daddy's little girl? Will you be a sad reminder of what's been lost along the way? Maybe you can help me find her in the things you do and say. And these things that we have given you, they are not so easily found. Oh, but you can thank us later for the things we've handed down. The things we've handed down, 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 down. You may not always be so grateful for the way that you were made. Maybe some feature of your father's that you gladly sell or trade. Or one day you may look at us and say that you were cursed. But over time, that line has been extremely well rehearsed by our fathers and their fathers in some old and distant town. From places no one here remembers come the things we've handed down. The things we've handed down, 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 down. The things we've handed down.
Can we talk about that song and how I'm supposed to talk with this giant lump in my throat right now? I am so thrilled to be back with my friends at Unity Church of Overland Park, so thank you so much for having me. Normally I would have my daughter here with me, but she moved to Montana a couple of weeks ago, but I did bring my mama. So anyway, Mariah says hello. Big shout out to my little cowgirl up in Montana, and I miss you and I love you, and I'm very grateful for this Mother's Day with you. Also, big mama hug to everybody out there on live stream, everybody calling in on YouTube. We want you to know that we're sending love through the airwaves. And in honor, honestly, of all women everywhere, I just want you to remember that the camera puts on 10 pounds. And so all of us are considerably thinner than we look up on this camera. So I just want to share that. Not relevant? Okay. I think the year was 1905. When Woodrow Wilson signed the proclamation that made Mother's Day a national holiday. And so even though that we tend to celebrate Mother's Day with things like flowers and brunches and shows of appreciation, what you may not know is that the original Mother's Day actually had fairly dark beginnings. It was designed for mourning women to mourn the loss of their fallen soldiers. So that's why it was originated. So I'm not telling you that to bum you out really early in the talk, but I do think it's important for us to understand that, because just the mere term mother brings up a myriad of emotions for people, depending on what your personal experience was, correct? So it's important for us to understand that depending on what happened, the term mom or mother is foundational just to our emotional well-being. So it might be in relationship to your physical madre, but also you have to think about it from the perspective of your sense of being cared for in the world. So that's really what motherhood is all about, and that's what we're going to talk about today. So I want you to define mother any way you want to define mother right now, and whatever makes sense to you. So your mother might be the one who gave you life, or it might be the one who gave you a reason for living down the road. So today we honor all mothers. We honor, including, that's dads who have to be mothers. That includes foster mothers and adopted mothers. It includes aunts and uncles and grandparents and neighbors who stepped up and took on that role. So anyone that really has an influence over children or influence in a child's life is who we're considering for today. Because you cannot underestimate that influence. Because one of the things that I've learned over time is that the greatest contribution that you may make to the world is not what you do, but who you raise. I can certainly attest to that. But I'm a coach, so I'm a tactical kind of gal, so my natural instinct is to kind of break this down in ways that can be more meaningful. So I want you to be able to share with you some different ways in which the definition of mother is influencing you and your personal spiritual journey. So if you'll bear with me, I'm going to break this down a little bit. For the sake of a common pool of meaning, I like to start with good old Webster's dictionary. Well, online dictionary, because does anyone really have a dictionary anymore? That's not propping a window open or something, right? So I went out to the Google Meister. This is what I found out. There's actually 4 different definitions of the term mother in the Webster's dictionary. So here we go. Number 1, not surprising, a woman in relation to a child or children. Okay, that would be expected. Number 2, give birth to. You see where we're going with this, right? Number 3, to care for or protect. And number 4, see matriarch. So I went to matriarch. Matriarch says, defined as older, wiser, powerful in a family or an organization. So, and then just for fun, because it's against my nature to get too terribly serious, I decided to look it up in the Urban Dictionary. And so this definition actually might resonate with a few of you a little bit better. So the Urban Dictionary says this: mother, quote, the only woman in the world who'll still cradle you in her arms even after you've stabbed her in her unconditionally loving heart, every time you've sent her calls to voicemail, told her to go away in the presence of your super cool friends, and taken juvenile revenge on her for only trying to protect you from the seemingly harmless evils of the world around you. Yep. So we'll put that one aside for just a minute. But another reference that comes to mind, that has to come to mind in this time of ecological confusion, if you will, is the ultimate grandest of mothers. I want you to think back to junior high Greek mythology for a minute. All right, in junior high Greek mythology, they basically stated, when they talk about the term chaos, they basically say in the beginning of time, chaos is defined as the original dark void. But think about this. Does anybody remember the first 2 things to come out of chaos in Greek mythology? The first thing to come out of it was the deity called Gaia, right? And so it says basically this dark void, it's the divine condition from which everything emerged. It doesn't say the divine condition from which only bad things emerged. It says from which everything emerged. So if the first thing to come out of that dark void was Gaia, Gaia is the deity known to us once again as Mother Earth or Mother Nature. The second thing to come out of that dark void was Eros. Remember Eros? He was the god of erotic love. That's a different holiday. But when you think about it, the 2 most basic derivatives of chaos were the 2 things that have the greatest capacity for expansion and growth, nature and human desire. So when we think about it from that perspective, you can see that the foundation of everything that we have and everything that will ever be stems from two things: love and the original mother. So let's dig a little deeper into these definitions, shall we? First definition, remember, is a woman in relationship to a child or children. So you've heard it said that God couldn't be everywhere, so he invented mothers. Well, what we know for sure, certainly in our spiritual practice, is that spirit is indeed everywhere at all times. But when we start looking at this definition, I really appreciate this folk wisdom, because what it says to us is it kind of reminds us of the ineffable character of the divine feminine. And we might be talking about that in relationship to a woman or to our mother, but I also want you to consider that we are also looking at this from the perspective of really tapping into the divine feminine within you. To be able to really identify, yes, we're thanking and we're honoring and celebrating our earthly mothers, but we really want to go back to this concept of divine feminine, because one of the things that came up this morning from the platform already is Deb was talking about the honoring of the men in our lives who have shown up as nurturing and caring and excluding no one, right? And so when we look at it from that perspective, Mother's Day isn't about a person. It's not even about a particular entity. Mother's Day is really about looking within and deciding, okay, what does that divine feminine mean to us, and how do we utilize that in ways that we can create a more loving structure for ourselves and for our relationships. In fact, the late, great Stephen Covey calls this making deposits. If you've ever read the ancient book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, if you haven't, go read it. If you have, read it again. Because it talks about the concept of, in relationship to other people, how making sure that your job in a relationship is to make sure that you are not taking more than you're giving. And so it's important to understand that when he talks about making deposits, it's about trust. It's not about money. It's about identifying, building those levels of trust in that relationship. So one of the things that my daughter and I used to do for really almost the whole time she was growing up is every Mother's Day, we'd ask each other the question, what's the one thing? Like, if I got better at that one thing, or if I stopped doing that one thing that irritates you, what would have the one thing that would have the greatest positive impact on either your life or just our general relationship? And it was always really small things that we could commit to. It would be something along the lines of, I needed her to get out of bed after I woke her up in the morning, because that was something we really struggled with, is her just getting ready in the morning. We were always running behind. She might ask me for 10 minutes of my time when she gets home from school, so that just to hear about her day, just to stop working and let her tell me about my day. Can I do that? Of course I can do that. And so instead of us making a laundry list of all the things we do that irritate each other, all the things that are wrong with each other, we just spend a few minutes saying, what can I do for you that would make the biggest difference? And if we did those things in all of our relationships, it would make a radical change. And it's especially important in your closest relationships, right? Your siblings, your partners, your children, right? Your coworkers. It's important because in those relationships, those are the ones that continue to change and evolve. And so if you're not having these conversations, you won't know the new expectations as they come up. So that's just a practice that I would share with you that might be kind of fun. It's just, we both commit to it, we do that one thing, and after we've done it for a while, what you'll find is that, quite frankly, it'll just become how you operate with each other. It's just your normal. And it has shifted the way we feel about each other. Number two. Number 2 was to give birth to. This one I love. When you were born, you were giving this spark of life. And this spark vitalizes you until the end of your life. And in between, what your job is then is to take this use your human expression to create and also to be able to contribute back to your community. That's a quote from one of my all-time favorite movies, Phenomenon, with John Travolta. It's a very old movie, but it's a very spiritual movie. But you don't know it till you get to the end of the movie. I won't give you a spoiler alert, but let's just say it's fantastic. But John Travolta plays a character named George Malley. And in this particular role, his story emphasizes overall the power of human potential. And this quote says to me that in reality, like ordinary people can accomplish extraordinary things. So that's really the premise of the whole story. But here's where we get snagged, is that we wait until we're completely ready or until we think we're worthy of being able to share our silly ideas or express what's in our hearts, because we worry that our ideas, that will be criticized, that maybe they're not gelled enough, or maybe they haven't been validated by enough people. And so we keep those things to ourselves. But the problem with that is if we wait until we have all of our feces collected to do anything, nothing would ever be invented, right? No new expression would happen. There wouldn't be any evolution of life. So, truth is, it is completely possible, not only possible, but necessary for you to be both a masterpiece and a work in progress at the same time. So this is a really pivotal time right now too, and I'm recognizing this as it relates to, even when just looking at the environment that you're creating as you're trying to move into your new normal here. This is a very pivotal time during the pandemic. And what I mean by that is that people are vastly disparate as far as where they are as it relates to what's going on in the world right now. There are people who are irreverently acting like nothing ever happened. There are people who have gone to the farthest extremes where they are in total isolation and deeply rooted fear. And it seems like the only thing in the middle of that right now is just a constant state of judgment and criticism about anybody who thinks differently than you do on this topic. It's exhausting. It's not like we haven't had enough reasons over the course of the last year to create division amongst us. It's almost now like we're looking for reasons to be pissed off and scared to death. So we got to make some decisions right now about who we're going to be in this new normal, right? What we're going to be investing in. So I really want us to think about that when we talk about what you're going to be giving birth to going forward. There's a quote from T.S. Eliot. This is my favorite. And I think it's really relevant, more so now than it ever has been. And he says, "For last year's words belong to last year's language, but this year's words await another voice." We cannot get where we need to go with the same thinking and the same vernacular that we have used to get here into this situation that we're in. So we have got to do that. So this Mother's Day, for all of us, the question you ask yourself, Mother's Day 2021, is, what will you give birth to? What will you give birth to? Number 3, to care and to protect. A staple in the unity movement is a little ditty we like to call the prayer for protection. We will traditionally do that at the end of the service. And the reason we do it then is because that's when we start to set our intentions for all of the lessons that we've learned, either during the talk, the collective soul-touching music that has come to be a part of our experience. Our intention then is to take all of that positive energy and figure out a way to utilize that when we're problem solving in the wild when we get back out into the world. It's easy to sit here with each other knowing that we love each other and talk about all of the goodness, but then we have to go back out and figure out, how does that apply to me when all is said and done? So a lot of people are really good at churching, but we have to figure out, how do we take the churching piece of it and set that intention? But the prayer of protection is really there just as a reminder for us that it doesn't go away when we leave the building, or it doesn't go away when you get off of the YouTube. And that, this is an opportunity for you to be able to say, this is knowing that you are safe from harm. Anybody who's had the honor of raising, or let me say deeply loving a child, can relate to the concept of the mama bear, right? I hear that, a mama bear, right? And let's just say the mama bear, when you think about the concept of mama bear, this is a characteristic that describes most of us when we feel like something or someone we love is feeling threatened in some way, right? And so the shift happens into mama bear because mama bears they're cute and they're cuddly and they're loving until they're not, And when that happens because in some way we feel threatened. In somewhere along the line, we have forgotten the truth. We've forgotten the truth. This is my experience over the last couple of weeks, my daughter moving somewhere where she doesn't have access to social media, where she doesn't have a good signal. You come to a place of trust that's bigger than you ever knew was possible. And so that's what we have to get to. So the mama bear, quite frankly, the shift takes place when we lose sight of that truth, and we have to gently remember ourselves, as in the prayer of protection, that the light and the love and the presence and the power of God are all our birthright. They're our birthright. And it's available to all of us at all times. And then finally, number 4. Number 4 definition, remember, is the matriarch. You've no doubt heard the old axiom. You know, when you're 20 years old, you're so worried about what everybody thinks of you. But then you turn 40 years old and you don't really care so much what people think of you. And then you turn 60 years old and you realize like no one was ever thinking of you at all. But we get so caught up in our own ego and we take ourselves into that place. But it's important for us to remember this, because I don't mean to imply, by the way, that no one cares about you. Clearly they do. What I'm saying is it was very sobering, and might I say, really relaxing. And for me to be able to recognize that not everybody's that concerned about what's going on in my world, right? That it doesn't, nobody's waking up in the morning and trying to figure out what's on my Facebook wall or determining whether or not I'm having a bad hair day. I'm not, am I? Okay. Okay. So, it turns out, kind of funny, it turns out people kind of have their own lives. And they're not losing any sleep whatsoever based on what I have going on in my experience. And so I want you to understand that that is the gift of maturity. Yes, it's age, but it's also learning from our mistakes. And it's understanding that we focus on where we have some element of control. That's maturity. That's what the matriarch is all about. Because being a matriarch means that you know that you are a leader and you're constantly using that power for good. That you are becoming a role model for people in a way that you would like to see more of in the world. That's what a matriarch is. So you're all grown up now. You're understanding if there is a connection between what's going on in your life and the story that you have been telling yourself about who you are and what's possible for you. One of our core unity principles is that we create our experience through a way of thinking. That's a core unity principle. But it's not the most important unity principle, because one of the things I've learned as a coach is that just because people know how to act doesn't mean they act on what they know. Which takes us all the way back to the conversation about churching that we had earlier today, right? Or earlier in this talk. And so it's really, more importantly, the final unity principle, which is this. Here, I'll give you a hint. It's knowledge of the principles is not enough. You have to live them. Oh, now we know. You have to live them. Just because you know how to act doesn't mean you're acting on what you know. Now, unity is not considered a religion per se. I think it's been described as practical Christianity. We take in information from a lot of different faiths, right? And we accept all paths to God, but the perception is that you'll be on one of them, right? And so the whole goal here then is to take what we know with our spiritual maturity, and we figure out a way to create a structured spiritual practice so that we can keep it in front of us at all times. So the word practice means that you don't just believe it, that you have some sort of mechanism for connecting to this. And that's really what the technical or the practical spirituality is all about. It means that you take action on where your theology is. So it's a spiritual practice of some kind. And by the way, it doesn't have to be time-consuming. It doesn't even have to be complicated. You can connect with spirit instantaneously. All you have to do is bring your presence back into the moment. That's really what it's all about. So structured spiritual practice doesn't mean that you sit on a mountaintop and you meditate for hours a day. It just means, I remember several years ago, I did a program for Unity Worldwide called the Enlightened Leaders Program, and I interviewed a gentleman by the name of Doug Krug. And he wrote a book called Enlightened Leaders. And I remember him saying one time, he said, enlightenment doesn't mean that you have your life all figured out and you have in this spiritual utopia. Spoiler alert, that doesn't ever happen. But what he says is, it means you recognize when you're going off of the path, you recognize when you are making decisions or taking actions that don't support who you say you come here to be, and you get to course correct. That's what enlightenment is. Enlightenment is really just an awakening, an understanding of what's going on. And is this taking me where I want to go, or is it not taking me where I want to go? So that's really what enlightenment is. And then finally, I invite you to envision the parable of the Mother Mary at the crucifixion. Disciples may scatter, followers may go into hiding. You know, a mother stays. A mother stays when the rest of the world is gone. And so in reality, you think of like that Mary was really like a rich tapestry of real motherhood. Like all kinds of excitement at first, followed by a ton of hard work, followed by some intense pain. That's part of what motherhood is. And I want you to understand here that no matter what your upbringing or your relationship with your biological parents or whether or not you've had children or not, it is never too late to have a happy childhood. I want you to recognize first and foremost that you are the beloved child of the omnipresent. And you are deeply loved. And there's nothing you have to do to prove it to anybody. There's a meme that I saw recently, and it showed a picture of a mother holding a child, and it said, children shouldn't have to work for your love. They should be able to rest in it. And I would encourage you to do that for yourself as well. Happy Mother's Day. Thank you. Thank you.
Don't know much about you, don't know who you are. We've been doing fine without you, but we could only go so far. Don't know why you chose us, were you watching from above? Is there someone there that knows us, said we'd give you all our love? Let's now take some time to get centered. Thank you to Cyndi for reminding us about our motherhood, about the presence of a mother's love in this world. In the presence of the one, in the presence of the true, all is here. All is whole, all is well. All is well.
Big deep breath through your nose to the count of 4. Hold it. And release to the count of 4. One more big deep breath through the nose. Feel it fill your diaphragm. Hold it and release. All is well. And we know this. We know this at the core of our being because you are the beloved child of a deeply loving God. And you are deeply loved. So just for a moment, I'd like for you to just reach your arms around your shoulders and just surround yourself in the warmth of the love that you are harnessing, that you are channeling through the universe. Just love on yourself a little bit. Big squeeze. Knowing that there is nothing or no one that you have to be or do to be worthy of this love. You are loved because you are a child of God. And as such, you have the opportunity and the responsibility to share that love with everyone you come in contact with. Even if you are not physically touching, the vibration of your energy, of unconditional love, of acceptance, the release of judgment and criticism envelops everyone that you touch. Your energy field, I'd like for you to see it extending a minimum of 10 feet around the circumference of your body. Just see that energy field. If it's dark, I'd like you to just wipe it away. Wipe away the darkness. If you can't feel it, breathe in again. Because that is what you're sharing with everyone around you. I'd like you to visualize it, a beautiful pale pink. The aura around you, a beautiful pale pink, mixed in with flicks of white and gold. And I want you to see this as it floats around the outside of your body, understanding that everyone in the room with you, everyone in the house with you, everyone in your office with you is sharing their energy with you. So share your energy with everyone around you right now. And just a thing for you to ponder this week as you move into this Mother's Day week is I want you to ask yourself the question, what am I giving birth to? What will be my new normal? And I want you to set that intention as if you had full creative license to have any life you want. Because in fact, you do. As we move into the silence, I encourage you, ask yourself the question and just sit with it and allow spirit to move through you. Allow your subconscious to open up and just provide you the information. What is yours to give birth to in this new normal? Remember to breathe through the silence. Big, deep breath in through the nose and out through your mouth.
We come back. Again, claiming this energy as ours. Sharing this love with the ones around us, with our communities, with the world. In the presence of the one, in the presence of the truth, all is here, all is hope, all is well, all is well. Sing along with me. well. All is well. In the presence of the one. In the presence of the truth. All is here. All is whole. All is well. All is well. Are we ready to look into Mama's eyes? Yeah. Mama's eyes, they hold me. Mama's eyes are sweet. Mama's eyes may scold me, but I can't stand the heat. They're the eyes that light my way when all my light has slipped away. Mama's eyes are beautiful. Mama's eyes are sweet. I've been through some valleys. I've been through some storms. There have been some winding roads, some places I thought no love could grow. Through the days and through the years, through the smiles and through the tears, see her face, touch her hand, feel her strength, then take a stand. Mama's eyes, they hold me. Mama's eyes are sweet. Mama's eyes may scold me, but I can't stand the heat. They're the eyes that light my way when all my light has slipped away. Mama's eyes are beautiful. Mama's eyes are sweet. When I fly too far away, her gentle voice to me does say, feel my love, take my hand, follow me to your promised land. Mama's eyes, they hold me. Mama's eyes are sweet. My mama's eyes may scald me, but I can't stand the heat. They're the eyes that light my way when all my Mama's eyes are beautiful. Mama's eyes are sweet. They're the eyes that light my way when all my life has slipped away. Mama's eyes are beautiful. My mama's eyes are sweet.
What a great,
It's coming.
what a great slideshow. Man, people sent in some incredible photographs of all that divine feminine energy. That was really great. And Cyndi, thank you. Thank you for this really great Mother's Day talk and this awesome question that we get to sit with for the next few days or weeks or months or however long we take it in. What are we giving birth to? What do we choose to give birth to? What are we birthing into the world? Really, really powerful questions. So thanks everybody for today. So just a few little announcements. We're not having any of our normal Zoom coffee time or the youth time after our service today, just in honor of Mother's Day and knowing that everybody has a lot of things going on and that we just want to kind of slow it down. So we won't be doing that today, but next Sunday we'll resume with our normal Zoom time and coffee hour. We also have a new membership class coming up. And so that class is going to be like a time for if you have been thinking that you want to be a member of Unity, if you've been coming, but you aren't exactly sure, everything that Unity is all about, or maybe you've been coming off and on the past couple of years, and you find, I really have been checking in. Unity has helped me, Unity Church of Overland Park specifically has helped me through this pandemic and kind of finding my center and opening myself up to this awakening. If you're looking for more information about how do I become a member of Unity Church of Overland Park, and so that I can really become a more integrated part of this loving spiritual community, then you can go register for the upcoming classes that will be held later this month at ucop.org. Actually, if you just want to register for anything or get any information, you can always go to ucop.org, and all of the links and everything are always in there. And also, make sure to subscribe to our e-blast, because that comes out on both Fridays and Sunday mornings. And again, there's always reminders and announcements and everything in there. So we'd love to have you, if you're thinking about becoming a member, make sure to get in touch with that class. Reverend Jackie will be teaching you a little bit more about the Unity movement and the history of the Unity movement and your place in it. Lastly, we've all known for a few weeks now that our beloved Reverend Mary Amwake has passed away from this earthly life, and we've been awaiting her memorial service. And so that is scheduled for Saturday. That's a little less than a week from now, so Saturday, May 15th. It's at 5 o'clock in the evening. And you do have an opportunity to be present for that. So you can go, like I said, just go and you can register for that here at the Plex Pod. So you'll have an opportunity to be here in person. But because of COVID and restrictions and the need for social distancing and still limited numbers of people who can gather together, we can only have 100 people coming together in person. So you do have to register if you're hoping to be coming here. And I think there are still some seats available. But if you don't register, or you're not comfortable coming, or you get registered a little bit too late and we already have 100 people coming, you will not miss it. It will be live streamed through Facebook and YouTube, as all of our services are. And also, I know that there are a lot of people that probably don't get the e-blast or might not be specifically in communication with Unity Church of Overland Park. But if you know people who really would want to know of Reverend Mary's passing and this memorial service, please share this information with them so that they might have an opportunity to check in. And at this time, I'd like to invite the president of the board, Pam Enlow. Pam has an announcement that she'd like to share with our community. Good morning.
Thank you, Tiffany. So you have probably noticed the recent absence of Reverend Carey. Reverend Carey joined Unity Church Overland Park at a time when we needed a compassionate presence to help us through a difficult transition in our church history. She helped us find strength and held the high watch through prayer and caring as we struggled to transform Unity Church Overland Park and to create a thriving spiritual community. We are grateful to her for sharing her skills and energy with us. Many of you know that Reverend Carey fell in the church parking lot on the way to her car in October of 2019. That was 18 months ago. Since then, she has struggled to recover to a point where she is able to resume her duties as the assistant minister. So with thoughtful consideration, earlier this week, the church decided to end Reverend Carey's employment. For the time being, Reverend Jackie will be providing pastoral care. For personal support, please contact the church office, Reverend Jackie, or you can always request prayer from another prayer chaplain. The board and chaplains are working together with Reverend Jackie to create a parting gift from the church to Reverend Carey. We want to send something that will allow members to express love, gratitude, and prayers to Reverend Carey. We will follow with details soon. As for now, to Reverend Carey, we hold you in our hearts as we love you, we bless you, we appreciate you, and we behold the Christ as you, as we thank you for your service. Okay, I'd like to invite Patrick and Tiffany up here to come finish the service. Thank you.
And so if you are comfortable with the information that Pam just shared with us, if you would like to just hold Carrie in your heart and send this prayer for protection out to her. The light of God surrounds you. The love of God enfolds you. The power of God protects you. And the presence of God watches over you. Wherever you are, God is, and all is well.
And now let us repeat our mission together as we affirm. Unity Church of Overland Park transforms lives and empowers people to make a difference in the world. Please join us back here next Sunday, where Kelly Hunt joins Reverend Jackie for a new series, which is Poetry and Prayer. And now let's welcome back Fred for How Sweet It Is to Be Loved by You by James Taylor.
All right. My backup singers are leaving. How sweet it is to be loved by you. Yeah, you know it. Sing it. How sweet it is to be loved by you. Needed the shelter of someone's arms. There you were. I needed someone to understand my ups and downs. There you were, with sweet love and devotion, deeply touching my emotion. I want to stop and thank you, Mama. I just want to stop and thank you, Mama. Oh, how sweet it is to be loved by you. Oh, it feels so fine. How sweet it is to be loved by you. Close my eyes at night, wondering where would I be without you in my life. Everything I did was just a bore. Everywhere I went, seems I've been there before. But you brighten up for me all of my days with a love so sweet in so many ways. I want to stop and thank you, Mama. I just want to stop and thank you, Mama. Oh yeah, how sweet it is to be loved by you. Like sugar sometime, how sweet it is to be loved by you. Here we go. You were better for me than I was for myself. For me, there's you, and there ain't nobody else. I want to stop and thank you, Mama. I just want to stop and thank you, Mama. Oh yeah, gotcha. How sweet it is to be loved by you. Just like honey to the baby. How sweet it is to be loved by you. Like jelly on my bread, Mama, how sweet it is to be loved by you. How sweet it is to be loved by you. Happy Mother's Day.